What's going on, Ride the Wave Nation? Jake Seymour here with Kyle Baxter and Reid Miller, and this is for another episode of the GRD Podcast. Today we're going to be breaking down the Celtics' 111-89 win over the Toronto Raptors in a pivotal Game 5. They took a 3-2 series lead, and it's looking really good for Game 6. But before we get into any of that, we got to shout out. We finally have a sponsor for today's episode, Burner Sports on Instagram. You guys got to go check them out. They have a bunch of daily contests that you guys can go on for the Celtics, and basically you go on and you go through the contest with a bunch of questions that you can answer, and you pick different lineups. And basically what happens is you pick the lineups in the contest, and if you get it right, you can win prizes and cash prizes as well. So guys, make sure you check them out on Instagram, Burner Sports, and we'll have the logo up on the screen for the entire episode. So make sure you guys can check out their website too, burnersports.com. So right now, Celtics won, 111-89 in a pivotal Game 5. Reid, I got to ask you, did you really think the Celtics were going to come out and be this dominant? Because I was not expecting it at all. They completely blew them out of the water.
Well, it's just kind of funny how, 0.5 seconds in Game 3 can turn into the momentum being completely shifted the other way in a span of, 3 days. There's that fluky shot to end Game 3, and then Game 4 they go and show that uninspired performance, and it costs them another game in a 7-game series. So they come back to Toronto, even though you're in the bubble with home court advantage being what it is. I felt very uneasy going into this game. I thought Toronto brought the momentum back to their side. Toronto's a very gritty team. They showed that in the regular season and in the bubble. But I did not expect that first quarter to go the way it went. We held them to only 11 points. I think we got 25 on our own. To start with that Jaylen Brown 3 to open up the game, and then all the way to that dunk over, I think it was Siakam. I'm pretty sure. Just plays like that, just really swing the momentum back to our side through at the initial start of the game. And that's what I thought was really impressive about today's game is that they got off to that hot start like I said earlier, but they didn't put the foot off the gas like they do so often this regular season and the bubble. We get these big leads, we blow things out of proportion or make assumptions, and sometimes we get disappointed when they blow it in the second half. That didn't happen. It's being disciplined. I thought they were very disciplined today, more so than they've been all series. And what that is making the smart play. More importantly, not biting on that Kyle Lowry pump fake. There was that one sequence where Daniel Tice got switched on him on a pick and roll. Lowry went for one pump fake, didn't go up. He passed it back out, dribble again. Another pump fake didn't go up, and he ended up forcing a shot to at the end of the shot clock for an air ball. Just smart plays like that is what won them today, and it's gonna be what closed out this series in 6. Kyle, what do you think about today's game?
I'm really happy we won. This is kind of, even though it's been one series, kind of been the third series in this series, because you can say Celtics were pretty dominant those first 2 games. Then the next 2 games, after the Raptors hit that bullshit shot with half a second left, it was looking like they might take the series. But Celtics kind of took it back tonight. I'm really happy we won, because if we had lost tonight, going into Game 6, I'd be a little nervous, because at that point, the Raptors would be red hot, just need to win one of the next 2, and they probably honestly would have. So it's nice seeing that we worked a lot of inside shots tonight. I think we scored a lot of points in the paint, so that's really helpful, especially for this team with their bigs.
Yeah, I was wicked excited just to see how they came out. They came out firing. I think, like you said, Reid, in the first quarter, they had, 11 points. And honestly, they could have held them to 9, but Kyle Lowry got a cheap little call at the end to get 2 free throws. But, 11 points in the first quarter, just ridiculous. I think they ended the half with 35, which some teams score 35 just in the first quarter alone. So that, just looking at it, was just oh my God, amazing defense. I love the defense they were playing with. And, I tweeted out during the game, I'm going to take a little credit for this. I tweeted out during the game that the Celtics need to start driving to the basket. And sure enough, they started driving. I believe in the midway through the second, they had about 20 points in the paint, which was huge. Jaylen Brown last game, he was chucking up threes. He missed a lot of them, but I saw him driving a lot, going back to how he played in game 1 and 2. And speaking of Brown, I believe he finished with 27 points and 6 rebounds. So he was all over the place, all in 37 minutes. But I think the big matchup that people talk about a little bit, but it doesn't get as much light as it should, is Kemba Walker versus Kyle Lowry. Kemba Walker had 21 points tonight. The Kyle Lowry's 10. And when your leader only has 10 points in this Toronto Raptors team, that says a lot. Also, to look at Pascal Siakam, he was held to 10 today. OG, 7. And then Gasol put up an egg. And then their leading scorer was 18 with Fred VanVleet. So when your leading scorer is with 18 and everyone else kind of just has mediocre games, I mean, it's hard to play good basketball at that and, win competitive games. So I was very excited just to see the Celtic defense finally step up and hold these players to almost really bad stats.
Yeah, I want to kind of go off that what you said about Siakam and Lowry. The Celtics have absolutely neutralized Pascal Siakam this series, which has been someone that's been huge for us. It's why really it could have been a sweep. These last 2 games prior to this, we could have it could be over by now. And it's largely due to the impact that Siakam, or lack thereof, that he hasn't had this series. Thus far, he's been hang on one second. I'm getting my roommate's on the door. Hang on. Oh, forget it. No, we're good. I lost my train of thought. He's been we got into early foul trouble. I think each game this series. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he had 3 in the first quarter today. I know he had it last game, I think. But he's only held him to 42% from the field and only 14% from 3. Yes, he's not a very strong 3-point shooter as it is. Sorry, I paused earlier. I was getting distracted by Phil on next door. But overall in the series, they said he was a minus 31, including today's game. So when he's on the floor, it's very detrimental to the Raptors, and his lack of impact has been what's made Toronto kind of take a dip in this series, and why they're not as favored as they should have been, like they were in the bubble.
Yeah, I mean, Pascal has had a really bad series against the Celtics. And tonight was just another game of that. But I think more importantly, though, Kyle Lowry, I mean, only 10 points for him. I mean, he's been letting us up. I know Scal was talking about a lot on the pregame show. He said that it's going to come down to who plays better basketball in the beginning of the first and the beginning of the third between Kemba and Kyle Lowry. And he's totally right. I mean, those 2 guys really lead their team. I know people think of the Celtics as a Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown-led squad, but it really starts with Kemba Walker. And you can see that, when Kemba Walker has a good game, it usually means good things for the Celtics team. And again, he had a great game tonight, and, Celtics got a 30-point win.
Yeah, and about the Toronto, with Siakam not being that impactful player that we've seen all season, it's forcing Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet to do more. I think, aside from today, I think Lowry's been unbelievable this series. I cannot stand watching him play just because how he is on the court, his personality, and how he just gets away with those ticky-tack calls that seemingly like to add up. But he has been out of his mind. I do think that he's playing some of the best basketball of his career, which says a lot as a 34-year-old. VanVleet as well. I think he's making a great case for a payday this offseason, whether it's with Toronto or elsewhere. That's just why, Toronto's just a really good team. I don't think this series has been for naught. Yes, we've shown we've been the better team this series, and the series standing doesn't really show that at 3-2 heading into Game 6. We could be looking at the Eastern Conference Finals, I think, by now. We just got to take care of one more, though. I will say, though, we did talk about this heading to this matchup, the Raptors bench being a real issue. Our bench has completely dominated theirs. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah.
We found that consistent role player in Robert Williams, and Brad Wanamaker had very solid game today. He had 15 points, I think it was. Their bench has been non-existent, which is surprising, except with the exception of Serge Ibaka, who has either a huge impact on the game like he did in Game 4 or none at all like he did today. I did say coming to this series, there's going to be that one random Serge Ibaka game, and there was. But we did a good job of not letting him get hot today on both ends of the floor. And you just got to tough it up for one more. It's, like I said, being disciplined for one more time, not buying on those Lowry fakes, cutting down on turnovers, making the smart play, making the smart pass, taking the right amount of shots. Having Kemba take more than 9 shots like he did yesterday. You see what happens when he does that today. He gets 20-something. So it's just playing smart for one more time against probably the best team in the East right now.
Yeah, I think another interesting fact that came across today, or stat, was in the regular season, the Celtics outscored the Raptors by 1 point, and they out-rebounded them by 1 rebound, right? Fast forward to this, it's been 5 games right now in this series, and we've outscored them by 7 and out-rebounded by 6. So that's another 2 big stats where it's kind of eye-opening. I don't know really what happened with this Raptors team in the bubble. I mean, maybe the lack of fans and the lack of being around their families, maybe that's gone to them a little bit. But the Celtics have been completely dominant on them. And I know Game 3 and 4, Game 3 came right down to the buzzer, and then Game 4 was kind of a bad game by the Celtics. But I like how they're playing right now. I really think that they have a chance to make it to the finals. And I said it before this all started. Their ceiling is either winning the championship, or their floor is getting losing in the second round. And right now, I mean, they're playing finals basketball. I don't think it's a stretch to say that they're going to win it all.
Like I say, it's like we're going to go around the league. Like, look at the situation Milwaukee's in. Like, they're down 3-1. They don't know if there's going to be Giannis coming back to play tomorrow. Like, if that happens and Miami wins, like, that gives us all the more likelihood of, like, we got a real shot at banner 18. Like, if Milwaukee was looking like the dominant team they would be all season, the fans would probably, like, chalk it up to, like, oh, Milwaukee's got a cakewalk to the finals, no matter who they meet in the Eastern Conference Finals, whether it's Toronto or Boston. But no, they're looking like their season's over after tomorrow night. And if we were to win on Wednesday night, we would face Miami likely in the next round. Like, that's a winnable series. Miami's a very good team. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals for a reason. But I think Boston puts up a very fair fight against them, no matter, even though they knocked us off in the bubble earlier after a sloppy game. Like, when we're at our best, we can hang with Miami. We can hang with Milwaukee. We're hanging with Toronto right now. We're over Toronto right now. It just gives us more of a likely chance of really seriously getting that banner. Like, and you got the other side of the league and, like, the top 4 teams left, like Houston, both LA teams, Denver, all 4 of those teams. Really, honestly, I think Houston would give us the biggest headache there, and they're probably the least favored to get out of there, which says a lot. Just about our play styles not really matching well with Houston's. So I think we got a real shot. We just got to, like I said, gut it out for one more. We'll go from there. But I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for what's to come.
I mean, Kyle, I got to ask you, though. You predicted Celtics in 6. So I got to ask, are you still standing by that, or do you think they're going to go 7 now?
No, I think they win this next game. I really do.
It's a wrap.
Like I said, Toronto was defeated today. They looked like they gave all they had left. But then again, you don't know. Like you said before, like, it's only you're in a bubble. It's not like you're going back to Boston to play. Like, it's every other game. It's really anyone's game. Any given Sunday, but in football, but any given day in the bubble.
Yeah, Nick Nurse could make some adjustments where the Raptors squeak out another game, but overall, for them to win the next 2, I think is highly unlikely. But they could squeak out another one. But I do think, like Reid said, they kind of looked really defeated today. I mean, we were up 30 on them at one point. And Jason Tatum, yeah, he had 18, but he only shot 5 of 15 today, so not a great game from him.
Right, that's what I mean. He didn't even play particularly well. Like, I think when Tatum, Brown, and Kemba are all right, like, that's dangerous. And even though one of them's not, we still win by 30. Like, that's so dangerous for other teams, especially Toronto, who is one of the best teams in the league.
Right.
It's also been like what's kept us competitive is our defense. Like, yeah, game 3, the defense had a late game blunder that cost us a game in a series. Game 4 was an atrocity on both ends of the floor. On offense at least. But we kept that game competitive because of our defense. Like, that could have easily been a blowout, but we held them in check on one end of the floor, just not enough to get the lead. So we're just, like I said, it's putting it all together. I've said so many times, once you do that, this team is fine. They're a championship contender when they're right, even with or without Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, I mean, I also want to bring up, too, you guys are talking about Tatum. He shot 33% from the field today. But you got to remember, too, he had 18 points, which is an okay game. That's a decent game. But he also grabbed 10 boards. He led the Celtics in rebounds today. And, although he didn't have, the most points and he didn't shoot as good, he did get some rebounds, too, which is just nice that, he didn't have a good scoring night, but he also affected the game at a different level. It's something that's nice to see from someone like Tatum who can be a superstar. You don't have to put up 25, 30 a night when you have guys like Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker doing a lot of scoring. If you go out, you get your assists and rebounds, that also looks good on a decent scoring night.
Yeah. What do you think about Hayward coming back? I mean, at this point, Marcus is doing pretty good in the starting position. So if you want Hayward off the bench to get some points, I don't think he necessarily has to be in the starting lineup when he comes back.
I don't even think you can think that far ahead right now. Like, you're talking about times that he's missing with the sprained ankle, but then you also got to take into account when he leaves the bubble inevitably for his kid.
So yeah, I know they said he's back and in like the quarantine protocol right now, but
yeah, but that's not even, that's just to be on the bench. He's not anywhere near ready to return yet.
Yeah, he left the bubble, I believe, for was it ankle rehab in Boston? You need to go to a different hospital, I think. So, but for everything, he left the bubble. Now he's back. I think he has to quarantine until Wednesday or Thursday.
It depends. He has to go through the whole protocol, like we said, and then it'll ultimately depend on if he's quarantined for 4 days or 7 days. But then he's still not ready to come back. I really doubt we see him again this series, this bubble.
He's definitely done this series. I don't think it's a stretch to say if the conference finals go 7 games, I think you could see him in the conference finals, but I also think you could see him in the finals as well. But then at that point, it's like kind of a toss-up because if we're in the finals, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Do you really want to mess with the lineup there?
If it's broke, if it's not broke, you still add the 18-point per game scorer on the team on the bench. I still think that would work.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. A hated Boston icon if we make it to the finals and he leaves for the birth of his kid. Like, I understand, but at the same time, like, when was the last time we made the finals?
I just meant, like, I don't know if you put him in the starting lineup. Like, obviously put him on the bench, but I don't know if you put him in the starting lineup just to see.
I think he could be that nice little spark off the bench. So, I like Marcus Smart starting right now. It seems to be working well.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus Smart, he has had some good games. But I do want to talk about, real quick, the lead, and then we kind of look around the entire league. But the Celtics, they, like you said, Reid, Jaylen Brown had an early 3, and then they jumped out to a huge lead and didn't look back. Their biggest lead tonight was 30, and the Raptors didn't lead once. Like, that's something, too, I looked at and I was like, that's complete dominant Celtics basketball. Like, today, I don't know if any of you guys caught it, but they re-aired for, like, the 100th time the 86 Celtics documentary, and I had it on for, like, the last hour, and, like, it kind of reminded me of that. Like, they were just so dominant on this Toronto Raptors team. They just got a lead, and they just went with it. They didn't look back at all. I mean, that team was so dominant, too. It's kind of, I'm not comparing this team to the 86 team, and the 86 team was on Mount Rushmore of teams. But what I'm saying is, like, it was kind of reminding me of that same dominant, like, the Celtics team is kind of, they're starting to get hot a little bit, and they're getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, definitely getting hot at the right time. I don't think they're the 86 Celtics. Yeah, they look good.
Banner's a banner.
What?
A banner is a banner, though, if we win one.
Banner is a banner. Right behind Kyle right there. We're going to add banner 18 up there.
Yeah.
Kyle's gonna need a new wallpaper.
Yeah, I have to get a new one on mine.
I don't want to get too high or too low just yet, though. I think I already showed that I have been a little too high this show, because it can turn on a dime, like we saw in Game 3 on that 0.5 seconds left, just to get the momentum swing. It's all about momentum in a 7-game series, and right now the Celtics have it. But we just gotta wait till to see how Game 6 plays out. Hopefully, it's the last we see of Toronto this season, and move on to whatever's going on the other side of the Eastern Conference, and whatever situation Milwaukee sees himself in for tomorrow night's game and their future as a whole. But nothing much else to add, I think, on tonight's game, on my end at least.
Yeah, I mean, just complete dominance. I mean, we kind of all hit all the points. I think that we can hit about the Celtics team right now. But I mean, I think it just would be cool to take a look around the association, talk about what's going on. Like you said, Milwaukee is down 3-1 to the Miami Heat. I think their season is done. I don't see them coming back. I mean, they could, but I think they're done. I mean, Giannis is getting hurt. I think Giannis is kind of like out of it now. He's kind of reminding me of LeBron James in 2010. He kind of, superstar player, MVP caliber player, and he's not kind of 100% there yet. I don't know. It's kind of shocking though to see him down 3-1.
Here's the thing. Like, if let's say Milwaukee and the Heat series goes very differently, like they're up 3-1. Let's say it's flipped, and Milwaukee plays next round against Boston. Like, I'm more relieved to not play Milwaukee right now, not because of Giannis, but because of Chris Middleton. We see how he struggles sometimes around the league. He had a really good game yesterday. I think he was like 36. I think he finished with. But when he plays the Celtics, for whatever reason, he's the best player on the planet. I don't know why. It's just a fact, I think, with him at the Garden. But if we don't have to deal with that, we got to play with Miami, who Jimmy Butler's showing he's a franchise superstar. I hand up. Like, I didn't believe in Miami. I said it on the show earlier this year. I take it all back. I think Miami's a real deal. They got a really good blend of, like, veteran talent with championship experience and youth, impactful youth, and Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. So they do kind of worry me a little bit. Not where I expected them to be at this point, though. But it's definitely a nice change of pace for a league that is, like, quote, broken for what it is. Like, people say, like, oh, the league's, like, predictable, whatever. Like, no, this is what we knew was going to happen this season. Like, KD leaves Golden State. That dynasty is over. Like, you got AD teaming up with LeBron in LA. Kawhi and Paul George teaming up in the other LA. Like there's that balance is back in the league, and that's why Miami's where they are, because the league is so balanced. I think it's not a fluke. I don't think, to a certain degree. I don't think it's a fluke. I think it's just an example of that league being as balanced as it's been for years now. So that is interesting to keep an eye on. Right now, it's the Clippers and Nuggets. They don't have a score on that. I don't have that in front of me.
I got the score. They're at the right now. They're at the half, and Clippers are down by 2 to the Nuggets, 57-59 Nuggets.
That series honestly is surprising me. I really didn't think the Nuggets were gonna, do too hot that series.
Yeah, like come on, punch. But it's game 2, game 3. What is that?
3.
This is game 3. Hey, but you guys didn't even expect the Nuggets to even be playing the Clippers right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw that out there.
I was saying
that out there. You all pick the Jazz.
I was saying this to my roommates. Like, I did not expect Jamal Murray to actually appear, like come out to be that scorer that people say he's been to this point in his career. Like, I'm glad to see it. Like, I want to see young talent play well and become like another all-star to a league with very good players. Like, the NBA has a lot of really good players. I don't know if that shocked any of you guys with that take there. But no, that has been really good to see. I think Denver is making a legit case for themselves. I still do have the Clippers moving on in this series. I do have them reaching the finals altogether. But it's nice to